Good morning to you, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Steve Collins coming to you from beautiful San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, purposeful coach and speaker. I hope you guys really had a wonderful weekend and had a chance to take a deep breath, get rested up, get focused so that you can bring your very best A game today. A little bit early today, and so I hope that you will choose to follow through with this because it will encourage you. Divine delays are not divine denials. Let me go over that one more again so you can really take it in. Divine delays are not divine denials. What do I mean by that exactly? Do you feel like you've been waiting a long time for something to happen? Does anybody know? What up, Big D? Has anybody ever felt like, man, I've been waiting for such a long time for something to happen? I'm getting impatient. I'm getting worn out. Are you getting weary in well-doing? Are you getting tired of waiting? Maybe there's something you've been believing for or trusting for or even praying and asking the good Lord for. Some breakthrough, some relationship, some new advancement, some new idea, some new methodology, something. Maybe you know what it is. I don't know what it is. What I can tell you is this, is divine delays are not divine denials. And let me give you a couple of examples to back this up for those of you who read your BLE. There's a little boy named David. Y'all know him from the David and Goliath account in history. Now, he was anointed to be king, or empowered, or declared, or spoken of to be king by a prophet in his time. And you know, he wasn't even counted among his brothers when his dad, Jesse, knew that the prophet was coming because he needed to see his sons. He didn't even think David was going to be one of the guys who was even qualified. Like, he brought all of his sons, and the prophet came by and goes, ain't this guy? Nope, ain't this guy? Nope, ain't this guy? It ain't this guy. And he's like, what's up with that? Jesse, I told you to bring me all your sons because the Lord's going to anoint one of them. And he goes, well, I mean, there's little David out in the field with the sheep, you know, little David. Bring him to me. And the prophet proceeded to pour the oil over David and anoint him for that role as king of Israel. Yet here was the thing. He did not step into that position for years and years and years. Joseph, given a dream. Joseph, in your BIBLE, Joseph was given a dream that he was going to be in a position of very high leadership with incredible influence. That's what he was given. But then guess what happened? His brothers hated on him. There are a lot of hating brothers in these stories, aren't there? You got a hating brother? You're in good company. They sold him into slavery after they threw him in a pit and came back home and told their mom and dad he had been eaten by wolves in the wild and brought him back a bloody, his coat of many colors that his dad had made him. And his parents wept because they thought he was dead and gone. He was given the vision of what he was going to do, yet it did not show up till years and years and years later. See, I'm going to change it from divine denials. You ready for this? God's delays are not God's denials. Just because it hasn't happened yet does not mean the good Lord is holding it back from you. Does not mean that he has said, nope, not going to do it, not going to do it. Wouldn't be Here's what he will say if he did talk like Dana Carvey back in SNL days, wouldn't be prudent at this juncture. See, if little sheep tending David had been given the position as soon as he was called out for that position, he did not yet have in him what it took to run and lead Israel. You see, he had not yet defeated Goliath. He did not have that confidence. He did not have that strength. He did not have that patience. He did not have that wisdom. He did not have the buy-in from all the mighty men and the warriors of Israel when he was little David in the field. It took him defeating Goliath, among several other things, for him to step into what he was called to step into years before. When he went back out to the sheep field, he probably thought, man, what's going on? Here I am out here waiting. Nothing's happening. I'm back in the sheep field again. Nothing's happening. The prophet anointed me to be king of Israel. Look, I ain't like nothing happening. I'm watching sheep. He could have gotten bitter. He could have gotten angry. He could have gotten frustrated. But what did he do? He waited patiently on the Lord. Same thing with Joseph. Joseph, brothers throw him in a pit, sell him into slavery. He goes into Egypt as a slave. He's like, man, but I had this dream. I had this goal. Then he thinks he finally hit it. He gets to go to Potiphar's house and take this powerful man in Egypt and be head over his own household. It says that Potiphar didn't even worry about anything when Joseph was in there. All he had to think about was what he's going to eat. That's called hiring talent, ladies and gentlemen. All you had to think about is what am I going to eat today, because Joseph took care of everything. And even then, when Potiphar's wife had a little hot flash for David and went for it, David said, no way, man, I ain't going to do this. He got falsely accused, and then he got thrown back into prison. Well, those of you that know the story know that eventually, years later, he went from prison to second in charge in the kingdom to the palace in one moment. You see, God's delays are not God's denials. Divine delays are not divine denial. If you are waiting patiently on a vision that has been in your heart that you have not seen come to pass, take heart, man. Take heart, woman. Be encouraged. Be strengthened. Have hope. Trust that God's delays are not his denials. The only way you can really worm your way out of this situation is for you to become embittered against him and to rail against him and to give up on that dream because you're thinking a delay is a denial. A delay is not a denial. Think about Abraham, Father Abraham, the father of faith. You guys know the story of Abraham, I hope, if you have read your Bible. Story of Abraham. God says in his old age, I'm going to give you a son. And he's like, bruh, I'm like 99. My wife is like 99. We hadn't had no fireworks happen in a long minute, if you know what I'm saying. And God says, yeah, but I'm going to give you a son. And he's like, I don't even know. But are you ready for this? Here's what it said about Abraham. He was unwavering in his faith. Unwavering in his faith, believing that God was able to do what he said he was going to do. What can you learn from that? Are you unwavering in your faith as you hope for this dream? Are you unwavering in your faith as you hope for this vision to come to pass? Are you unwavering in your faith? Like Abraham, who said he was unwavering in his faith. And he trusted that God could do what he said he was going to do. And you ready for this part? It said he did not have a mistaken tone of distrust regarding God's faithfulness. Let me say that again. He said he did not have a mistaken tone of distrust regarding God's faithfulness. He kept his heart right. He kept his attitude right. And he understood that I may be 99. My wife may be 99. Our stuff may not be working according to us. But broken stuff in the hands of God can become fixed stuff, if you know what I'm saying. So if you find yourself waiting, if you find yourself becoming impatient, if you find yourself becoming weary in well-doing, just keep doing the next right thing. Just keep doing the next right thing. If the vision hasn't come to pass, be encouraged. Think of David when he was anointed and then had to go back and mend sheep. If the vision hasn't come to pass, just be encouraged. And think about Joseph getting thrown in the pit, sold into slavery, and then falsely accused and thrown to prison. If your vision hasn't come to pass, just remember Abraham, who looked at Sarah and was like, I don't know about all that, but me and her and our stuff, I don't know about all that. He did not have a mistaken tone of distrust regarding God's faithfulness, but was fully persuaded that God was able to do what he said he was going to do. Do you have a promise from the good Lord? Do you have something that's in your heart? Do you have a vision? Do you have a dream that hasn't seemed to come to pass yet? Well, my friend, be encouraged. You're in good company. God's delays are not his denials. Stay strong in the faith, be encouraged, and know that God is able to do what he said he would do. Have a great Monday.